Welcome, everybody, to the Wake Up Call channel. Another day, another nightmare story that should open people's eyes to who these people in Hollywood really are. And that's a bunch of Satanists and witches. And it's not a metaphor. It's not a stretch to call them that. That's what they really are. And this is another story that we've heard about a famous person, this being Tori Spelling, who is really only famous because her father is an indoctrinator and, of course, a bagel biter, who is responsible for a lot of the CIA programming that has been infiltrated in our society over the last 70 years or so with the television set. But nonetheless, Tori Spelling, the daughter of Aaron Spelling, is out in the open talking about how she keeps her placentas from the children that she bears, and of course, recently talking about how she even once cooked it and ate it. For those of you that don't know why they're talking about the eating of the placenta, well, for multiple reasons. This is a practice that has been practiced going back to the medieval days, to the witch trials. Witches were eating placentas. It's a form of cannibalism. In fact, now that they're openly doing it, I mean, you can't really get much closer to admitting to eating children than eating your own placenta, other than telling everybody out there that they really do eat their own babies. But here's a clip of Tori Spelling talking about eating a placenta, even cooking it over a frying pan. That's how sick these witches are.
People do it all the time. And Dean's an amazing chef.
Tori Spelling says she and her ex, Dean McDermott, cooked one of her placentas and they both ate it. In true unfiltered Tori fashion, the Beverly Hills 90210 alum is getting all sorts of TMI on her Misspelling podcast. The celeb, who shares kids Liam, Stella, Hattie, Finn, and Beau with Dean, goes into detail about the dinner delivered literally by Tori during a fan question segment on the app.
My ex, I was on board. We cooked the placenta and ate it. People do it all the time. And Dean's an amazing chef. He cooked it and seasoned it, and it was actually really good. It's supposed to be good. It's something that is good for your body, and they take it out of your body, and it's good to put it back in your body.
And there's more where that came from. Tori admits she has other placentas stored in the fridge.
There's 2 in there, so unsure which child. Unless I have like the biggest placenta in the world. There's 2 vats in there. And this is normal. You know, because there's all that fancy stuff you're supposed to, they say it's good luck to eat it, or it's good luck to bury it, or it's good luck to, you know, have it sent and made into that powder and they put into pills. And well, I'm just too lazy to send it out.
And sometimes it's not even her own fridge.
I'm really sorry to my best friend, Jess. She came to the hospital, obviously, the day Beau was born. I said, Jess, can you take the placenta home? Because they've given it to me and I don't know what to do with it. So she, like a proper best friend does, did take it home. I feel like she has asked me a few times over the last 7 years to take that back. And I say, yep, next time I'm there. And then I don't take it back. But I'm going to one day.
Because Tori relocates frequently, she adds that sometimes a placenta or 2 will just go missing.
We move a lot, so unfortunately a couple got lost. But imagine that, you guys. Like, they got lost or left at some rental. Someone like opens up a freezer. Tori Spelling, placenta.
So again, we're supposed to accept this as normal, right? Tori Spelling keeping multiple placentas, not even sure where she's keeping them all, cooking them, eating them. And this isn't the first time. This is the new normal because they use the celebrities in Hollywood to normalize occult practices. All the stuff you see celebrities pushing, right? Conveniently, every single celebrity suddenly has a trans child. That is to influence. That is done to make it seem like this is a normal thing, that all these kids are trans, right? Ben Affleck, all these people I've covered over the years, Will Smith, just they keep popping up. Pink, their kids just keep becoming transgender, right? That's because they're normalizing it. They use their influence, their government operatives, to influence the masses' behavior. And they are influencing them in a way that they're normalizing every single thing that the occult does in darkness. They're making this stuff normal. And we're actually at a point where we're hearing about celebrities eating their placentas like this is a normal practice. And then they talk about, well, maybe you should eat your placenta. All right, next thing you know, maybe you should just eat your own kid, right? Why not? Hansel and Gretel, anyone? So Tori Spelling over the years we've seen do the all-seeing eye symbolism, right? We know Tori Spelling obviously is famous, and of course, if you're famous, you're definitely one of them, but specifically Tori Spelling, like I had mentioned with Aaron Spelling and the connection there, but it's not just Tori Spelling. You have Kourtney Kardashian recently ingesting the placenta after giving birth to her/his son, right? Of course, we know Kim Kardashian did the same exact thing. We see these articles out there about a lot of celebrities. It's not witchcrafty or anything, says Mad Men star of eating a placenta. Celebrity moms who ate their own placentas. See, these articles are there to persuade you and make you think that there's benefits to eating your own placenta. I mean, this is insanity. It's utter insanity. We have Alicia Silverstone. I'm pretty sure Alicia Silverstone plays the role of a Christian. I could be wrong. You can see some of the other celebrities out there talking about eating their placentas, right? So for those of you that don't know, if you're a young teenager, like, I don't even know what a placenta is, right? Let's just give you the literal terms from the Mayo Clinic. The placenta is an organ that forms in the womb, also called the uterus, during pregnancy. The placenta is connected to a developing baby by a tube-like structure called an umbilical cord. Through the umbilical cord, the placenta provides oxygen and nutrients to a developing baby. It's literally, you might as well call it an organ, right? The placenta is an organ. And by definition, the consumption of flesh, including organs, is considered cannibalism. Now, if you don't know, witches are notorious and have always been notorious for performing these rituals with young children. That's why people were running after witches and going after witches. Again, it wasn't because they smelled like sulfur, which they do. It wasn't because they were hideous on the eyes, which they are. It was because of what they were doing. They want you to think that's all make-believe. They want you to think that Christians were just judgmental of them and all they were doing was sitting around and grinding on trees and loving on plants and flowers, and it couldn't be further from the truth. They were partaking in ritual sacrifice, and if you don't know how this tale has been weaved throughout history, it even goes back into the medieval time period with the Anatomy of Melancholy, which even in the 1600s they wrote about the origins of witches and magicians and how midwives were used because a lot of women who were bearing children needed midwives to help give birth to these children. Well, a lot of the midwives happen to be witches in disguise, pretending to be carrying midwives who were abducting and taking children, obviously taking the placenta and using it and consuming it and using it in blood rituals, okay? So the origins of this stuff all goes back to witchcraft. They like to use terms and say, oh, well, healers, it could be a healing thing. Oh, it could help with postpartum is one of the narratives that's out there, which is absolutely ridiculous. That would help you in postpartum to eat them. Because, oh, now you feel like you're one with the child. This is all occult crap. And this is stuff they continue to get away with normalizing. And isn't it a coincidence that it's all these celebrities who continue to tell everybody out there and talk about cooking organs and eating them? And we're not allowed to call them witches or what they really are because, of course, that's hate speech, right? But, you know, you see people out there and they're just like, why are you people eating their placentas? Well, I'll tell you. Let me just sum up what I just explained. They're eating their placentas because they're witches. That's why. There's no nutritional value. There is no help with postpartum depression. There's no benefits whatsoever other than the fact that they're using it for spell casting, okay? So the BBC, all these places out there talk about, is there benefits? Are there not? Well, the short answer is there's benefits if you're a practicing witch, clearly. So Tori Spelling is just the latest one, who, while answering questions during an episode of her podcast, I'm sure it's highly censored, the Beverly Hills 90210 alum revealed that she has 2 placentas from 2 of her children's births stored in her freezer, in addition to another one at her friend's house. And if that weren't shocking enough, Spelling, who shares kids Liam, Stella, Haiti, Finn, and Beau with ex Dean McDermott, said she and her estranged husband, as you heard, once made a meal out of her placenta. She said, one time my ex was on board, we cooked the placenta and we ate it. So folks, does this not qualify as cannibalism? I mean, this is an organ inside this is by definition of the Mayo Clinic. okay? This is, aren't we supposed to follow the science, so to speak, right? But this is what they do. They go, oh, it's shocking stuff. Instead of saying, yeah, that's cannibalism. Is that legal? And should we be promoting this and allowing this stuff? Should we be investigating these people or checking out if they have mental health problems? Well, they don't want you to realize that they're witches. Plain and simple, right? So the fact that Kim Kardashian did it and Kourtney Kardashian did it, and they're the highest ranking, or one of the highest ranking Armenian witch cults in Hollywood, shouldn't surprise anybody as to why they're eating their placentas. But all they have to do is come out, smile, and put a spell on you and make you think that they're just normal, everyday citizens. Nobody knows what Kim Kardashian or Kourtney Kardashian are so rich and famous for, other than being witches, of course. People are like, well, her father was OJ's lawyer. Well, they're worth billions of dollars and they don't do anything. All they do is what? Influence the behavior. You see people copy how they behave, copy how they dress, copy the fashion shit. That's their job. And then they call themselves social influencers to make you think that it's some organic thing, and it's not. They're forced social influencers. They're to influence your behavior. And that's why they openly admit to this stuff. They want you to partake in it, right? What's the other thing the Kardashians partake in? Oh, the vampire facial. So she eats her child's placenta, or eats her placenta, right? Then she does a vampire facial afterward. Anybody wonder if these are witches yet? The oldest origins of witches has to do with eating children, right? Even the stories and the tales that somehow they got away with telling us in the school at a young age about Hansel and Gretel, about a witch pumping up kids to eat them. The fact that we even allowed that, or that's been allowed throughout history, is unbelievable that nobody's figured it out yet, that witches are real. And they call them fairy tales, and they tell you right out in the open. Most of those children's stories are about the kidnapping or consumption of kids, and then they read it to kids. It's a form of trauma-based mind control right out in the open. It's like, I'm reading my kids Little Red Riding Hood. You're like, what's the story? Well, you don't really want to know. Well, you're reading Hansel and Gretel? What's the story? I don't know. It's something about that plumping up the kids, Yeah, aren't they going to eat them? Oh, they are? Yeah, but it's not real. It's a fairy tale. Oh, it's not real. It's a fairy. Actually, it is real. And it's playing out right in front of our faces on a day in and day out basis. So the other thing when I mentioned with the vampire facial, that's another notorious thing throughout the medieval time period, that witches were taking the blood of children and using them as an anti-aging thing, rubbing it on their faces. Okay? Bathing in blood, which we still hear about. And everybody dismisses this stuff. This is them out in the open admitting to being witches. That's what they're doing by telling you this stuff. Tori Spelling is telling you she's a witch, or he's a witch. Kim Kardashian and Kourtney are telling you they're witches. Alicia Silverstone, all of them. So for anybody out there wondering, just to recap, okay, celebrity moms are eating their own placentas. You're not supposed to be suspicious that it has anything to do with witchcraft, because they tell you, quote, it's not witchcrafty or anything, and then you're supposed to be so dumb to believe the witch at their word. Right? Because you don't want to condemn the witch, because that's hate speech, right? You don't want to be confrontational to the witch. They're the only, they're the ones who are making the world a living hell right now, the Satanists and the witches working together. But don't be suspicious why all these people just continue to eat their organ, or should I say their placenta, which is an organ, which would qualify by definition as being a form of cannibalism. They're just telling you that they're committing it out in the open. They're cooking it right up. And the next thing they're going to tell you, because this is as close as you can get to them admitting to cannibalism, like eating their own child, right? How much closer can you get? What's next? They're going to tell us in the blue states that when they go to Planned Parenthood, afterwards they're going to take the child home with them, right? But we know that, Bill Gates and all these people, their connection to Planned Parenthood, the ones who, Bill Gates' father is one of the founders of Planned Parenthood, which I've talked about over the years, and nobody even ever mentions that. No one's ever like, oh yeah, nothing there with witchcraft and sort. Yeah, okay. So anyway, what's next? They're going to go to Planned Parenthood, and instead of letting those, because nobody asked where the placentas go, where the aborted babies go, right? We all know where they go because they're used in rituals. They're going to let you take it home next, right? They're going to say, hey, now we're going to give you the option to take it home. And then they're going to start coming out and telling you the benefits of eating the child, becoming one with the child after that whole process. And people out there will hear that and they'll be like, hey, it helps with their mental health, helps with that postpartum. You think that's crazy? It's not crazy at all. This is being normalized right in front of you. This placenta thing is insane. And it's insane that they talk about it like it's nothing. They talk about it like it's washing your hair, like it's brushing your teeth. Like, hey, it's cooked up my placenta. Oh, it's cooked up, right? And the more you hear it, the more desensitized you become to it, right? So over the years, we've heard a lot of celebrities do it. So then what's the next thing that happens? Oh, what's the big deal, right? That's what I mean when I say they become desensitized. People become desensitized. You hear about the first time, oh, Kim Kardashian doing a vampire facial. Now everyone's like, oh, what's the big deal? Yeah, so-and-so's doing it too. So-and-so's doing it too. Oh, they're eating their placentas. Years go by, everyone just goes, hey, what's that? So then the next thing will be, well, now it's therapeutic. If they're going to have abort the baby in these blue states, well, they should be able to take it home and consume it. It's theirs, right? It's their body, their choice. It's their child. The child's no longer alive. It's going to get buried anyway. Maybe they want to consume it. Maybe it'll make them heal from their postpartum. And people out there think it's all nuts and it's all true. And they don't realize that when they become desensitized to it, it happens exactly as we all say it's going to play out, and they still don't even realize that it's happening. Same thing has happened with the magic potion. We told everybody how it was going to play out beforehand. It played out that way, and even the people still can't realize what's happening. They're like, oh, it's not what they say. Oh, it's not what we say, right? Right. So here we go again, folks. More witches openly admitting to it. The next thing you'll hear, because again, this is as close as you can get to them consuming the child publicly, is that it will be announced. And that is what a lot of the celebrities do. I've talked about this over the years. You got Khloe Kardashian, Kourtney Kim, Khloe Kardashian, and these other celebrities who have had, they're pregnant, they go through their pregnancy, and then they have miscarriages, right? Well, normal people have miscarriages. We all know that. There's no questioning that miscarriages occur. The celebrities have forced miscarriages, okay? And they take the baby, and then they do the rituals with them. And they want you to feel bad for them, and then they go, I'm out of the public eye for a while. They're pregnant for 5 or 6 months. That's because they abort them, and then they consume them. Sounds crazy, but it's true. That's what's always happened with witches. This isn't, it might sound new and crazy to you, but this is what's been going on, since the beginning of time, since witches have existed on the earth. And that's why Christians have always gone after witches. That's why the Bible says, what about a witch? Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. Which, again, they don't want you to ever say, because you got to be in love with the witch. You got to appreciate the witch. You got to respect the witch. But why are these Satanists such enemies to God? Well, they're enemies to God because what do? They defile children. They defile Christian children. This is throughout history. This goes back to the libel thing that you can't talk about here or on any platform now that they passed that new bill. These people are hunting for the youth. And it's not just the youth. It's the blood, obviously, of the youth. I thank you all for being here. I hope you're all doing well. God bless you and your families as always.